Okay, folks. So some of you have seen my workshop videos where I'm doing readings and clearing people's subconscious blocks by swinging around a pendulum, which is this little stone at the end of a short chain. And some of my friends and colleagues, especially from tech, have been asking, "What are you doing? And have you lost your mind?" So I acknowledge this may look a little odd if you're not familiar with what I'm doing in the field I'm in. So, as requested in this video, I'm going to give you a quick behind the scenes sneak peek regarding the magic of dowsing and why it works. And in the next video, I'll actually demonstrate it for you. So, to start with, if you want the quick origin story, in the 1850s, over 100 years ago, a new entry appeared in medical literature describing observations they could not understand at the time. And they called these observations the ideomotor effect. And what it described was the unconscious, involuntary muscular movements caused by thoughts, suggestions, and expectations rather than movements caused by conscious intent. And at that time, it was used to describe people who used dowsing rods to find water on your property. And they had no clue at the time how that worked, but they could see that it did. In fact, when you were moving into new areas, that is how you found water on your property. So that's kind of where things started. In the 1940s, if we fast forward a little ways later, related concepts were used to develop the polygraph machine, what's commonly called the lie detector test. And in the 60s, Dr. George Goodhart, I believe, pioneered the use of muscle testing as a diagnostic tool for health and medical conditions. And in the early 80s, researchers Ekman and Friesen pioneered the science of microexpression analysis on a person's face to identify deception, among other things. So, all of these tactics, all of this technology, all these techniques, they were all related to the ideomotor effect, where a person's body communicates truth versus falsehood, and dowsing is just using a tool like pendulums that swing or rods that cross, as a tool to accentuate that ideomotor effect and to make truth more visible, more obvious, and unmistakable. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, is this perfect? Is it foolproof? No. It can be sensitive and it takes practice as a modality, but is it a breakthrough? Definitely. And is it a way to get answers that might be hard or impossible to find any other way? That's the whole point. So here's where things get even more interesting for people like you and me who want to create results in our lives, very specific, certain results in our lives. In the 1980s, about mid 1980, Robert Detzler used dowsing with a pendulum to identify what was blocking people from achieving their goals and how to clear those blocks as well. Now, that was new. That was a big deal. That was taking things to a whole new level. That was taking things from just gathering information to actively applying that information to address issues and to improve clients' lives. And that was the birth of an entirely new field called subconscious clearing. And since then, in the last 40 years or so, a whole collection of modalities have been developed to do subconscious clearing. Spiritual response therapy, or SRT, is one of the granddaddies. Halo energy clearing is a newer, more streamlined entrant. Body code, emotion code, belief code, family constellations, the list goes on and on. But if this is new to you and you're not familiar with it, then let me give you a simple analogy that will help explain what subconscious clearing is. Imagine that you want to take a ride in a hot air balloon. Now, for you to go up in the air in a hot air balloon, you need two things. Number one, you need to pump hot air into the balloon to create lift. And you need to release or cast off the anchor lines keeping you tied to the ground. And with all of your best action and thinking at your disposal, that's like the conscious level activity of pumping that air into that hot air balloon. But, and here's the kicker, we all have subconscious blocks that cause self-sabotage and resistance and blocking our results. And those are like the anchor lines keeping you stuck on the ground. So all of your best actions and all of your best thinking, those are great. Keep that up. That's required. That is absolutely required. Keep doing that. But if you're not getting the results you want, odds are that you have subconscious blocks that are keeping you stuck. Now, The good news is that subconscious clearing is all about removing those blocks so that your conscious actions and thinking can have more effect, can have more impact, can create more of the results you want. So, if none of this made sense, I want you to remember one thing: you are not broken. You're not. You're just blocked, and blocks can be cleared. In my next video, I'm going to show you how that works. Talk to you soon.